If you'd like to de-stress today by combining mindful doodles and abstract watercolor painting, I will be sharing a really brief 5-minute mindful art activity, which I like to refer to as intuitive painting techniques. Welcome to day 12 of our 30-day art challenge. Our prompt for today is Jewel. You can download the free calendar to follow along with the 30-day art challenge below, and we will dive right in. I'll be sharing some really simple intuitive painting techniques with you. So you want to be sure that you have your art journal or paper. So I'm just getting some color quickly on the page here. I have all of my materials linked below. I recommend for this practice just using a couple of colors, so maybe 2 to 3. You can have it be fairly monochromatic. So what you may have noticed in the example is that we're still following the path. So we're allowing the marks of the watercolor paints to inform where and how we make our lines, but this is a different intuitive painting technique as far as the line work goes. So we're not using organic curvy lines. In this case, we're using more straight lines, connecting them and playing with having a particular point. Again, following that path first. And then as you do that, connecting some of the lines together. So similar to our other intuitive watercolor practices and mindful art practices, this gives us enough structure that we can begin and start making marks on the page. And there's also a lot of freedom, and it's more of making marks out of curiosity. What's really lovely about this practice as well is that you can spend as little or as much time as you'd like on it. Obviously, the more time you can spend, the more complex some of your lines and marks would become. You can also start to incorporate several different practices that we've done. So you can always add words of affirmation or text to this. You can always see that in some of our other videos. You can add other forms of mindful doodling and marks. And so what I love about a lot of mindful art practices is that they can layer upon each other. So I've talked here on the channel about the more you do your 30-day art challenge, you may notice particular themes or symbols or shapes that reappear for you. One for me are these droplets that kind of come in, and that makes sense for me today with our prompt of Jewel. So with so many of our mindful art activities here, you might notice a slowing down that starts to happen as you create. And the more you do this practice or any of our mindful art activities, I find the more confident you become in choosing and making your marks. And largely that's just because there is that permission that starts to really unfold. You start to trust more of those intuitive impulses you have to make marks. And you also just know and trust that, again, there's no right or wrong way. You can always make changes later. It can always be a mindful art experiment. That's what I talk about a lot in my mindful art experiments course. And then I also share more specific techniques and tools for you to follow along with the prompts. So that's always linked down below if you want to check out that e-course as well, if you've been finding this interesting and you want to dive in deeper. Following with our Jewel theme today, I'm just going to connect some of these a little bit more intentionally. For today, I just want to show again the differences and how as you do this, it'll continue to transform. There's also a lot of different ways you can incorporate mindful doodles as well as use different coloring techniques with the watercolors. So again, definitely play around with this. You might notice that slowing down of your mindful art activities. And this is a really fun way to tap into your intuition as you explore some of these intuitive painting techniques. As usual, I hope you found this inspirational and relaxing. Please definitely like this video if you like it. This practice, it can be really simple and gratifying. You can always check out my 30 Mindful Art Experiments e-course. It goes into a deeper dive with more techniques and guided practices and a lot of journaling prompts as well, so we can make meaning of some of the marks that we're making. If you're ready to dive into another video right away, you can check out one of these, and otherwise I will see you tomorrow for our next day in our 30-day art challenge.